guys, this is Lala Legacy back with another episode of Seabed. So let's just jump right back in. You'll get hit by a car if you keep spacing out in the middle of the street, Sachi. I raised my face in response to clearly hearing my name. However, the person to whom that voice belonged was nowhere to be seen. I turned to a narrow alley between two large buildings, leaving the street behind me. As I continued on, I glanced at my wristwatch. Seeing the time, I decided to hasten my pace. Sorry guys, I am adjusting my mic. The bell above the cafe's door gave off an energetic chime as I stepped inside. As the establishment's front door was down a short flight of stairs below street level, it naturally had no windows and was dimly lit inside. The wall lights would be on all the time, coloring the interior in red and orange. I continued further into the shop, my footsteps silenced by the lush carpet. Sitting at a round table next to a wall behind a row of low handrails barely reaching to my waist, a red-haired woman, Narasaki Hibiki, raised a hand to catch my attention. Oh! Hello! I remember you from earlier. Over here! I went up the steps to her table as she folded the newspapers she had been reading. I thought I came early. My appointment today finished early, so I thought I might as well come ahead of you. There was an empty milk pack, a half-finished cup of coffee, and what looked like a cake plate in front of Narasaki. There was nothing but a silver paper and a few crumbs left on it. Narasaki wore a lab coat over her pale blouse and skirt. You came in your work clothes? They're the best clothes I have. I sat down facing her. The dim light from the walls fell over her white coat, dyeing it a pale hue of orange. So you really did become a doctor? You didn't believe me? Narasaki stretched her back. It suits you. I'm glad to hear that. Narasaki curled her lips slightly, letting out one of her characteristic sighs. I hope I didn't ruin your schedule by contacting you out of nowhere. Don't worry about it. It's been a while since we last seen each other, so I was curious about you myself. When was it? Back in elementary school? You don't remember? Oh wait, no, whoops, I mixed it up. Oh well. You guys know now. I narrowed my eyes, scanning through my memories, but Narasaki gave me a dismissive wave of the hands. It's okay, not like it was anything important. If you say so. The waiter placed a cup of steaming coffee in front of me. He then placed a cup full of sugar cubes and a small milk bottle next to it before wordlessly returning to the counter. I stirred my coffee with a spoon, creating a miniature whirlpool in the middle as I poured some milk into it. A small white whirlpool kept on spinning. As I sat there, satisfied with my whirlpool, I heard Narasaki chuckle. What? Oh, don't mind me. Her eyes were fixed on my hand, stirring the white coffee. I left the spoon on the tray and took a sip from my coffee, letting its familiar bitterness spread across my mouth. I felt as though Narasaki was snickering at me again. They have good cakes here. Do you want me to guess what you've ordered? Try your luck. A rare green tea flavored cheesecake. How did you know? You can tell from the wrapping paper. Oh. Narasaki picked up her own cup. Did you like it? Yeah, particularly the cream. I wonder if they used condensed milk with it or something. It tasted a bit like mochi ice cream they sell back at home. Now that you mention it, that sure brings back memories. You think they make their cakes here? No, they bring them over from the cake shop next door. It's part of the same brand. Hmm. If you liked it, you could buy something there on your way home. Mm-hmm. I'd personally recommend the sunflower. What kind of cake is that? It's a fruit cake with a chocolate base. Lots of cream in it too. I see. Maybe I'll check it out. I recommend it. As the background music that filled the shop slowly faded out, a melody of some classical piece soon took its place. Nagasaki looked around the shop. Something wrong? I just thought it was pretty convenient for a cafe and a confectionery to pair up like this. Does such a thing as inconvenient pairings even exist? There's a place near where I live that runs both a cafe and a barber shop. I guess you can enjoy a drink while you get your hair done, but that means there's little point in going there at all if all you want is a cup of coffee. Perhaps they have something to make it compelling. You can never tell unless you go check it out yourself. I guess it needs further investigation. Glancing at my wristwatch, I noticed how almost half an hour had already passed. We've only been chatting for half an hour, so don't worry. Seems so, yeah. You keep checking the time. Are you in a hurry or something? Does it look that way? I thought it was normal. I should have contacted you earlier, but you always end up having some sort of work pile up at the worst of times. You're busy. I've had my hands full lately, yes. With work. Yes. I've heard you were in the design business. That's right, I'm running my own company. Who told you? Good question. I don't quite remember anymore. I see. Is your office nearby? Yes. And can you make a living off of it? I get by. I'm getting less offers compared to before the economy crashed, but there's still enough of a demand. Well, it's just me and 3 employees, so it brings in enough money to sustain 4 people at least. So, you were saying you get less offers, but you're actually getting busier. Pretty much. Things got more hectic after Takako disappeared. What? It wasn't easy finding someone to fill her spot. Disappeared? Yes. Do you remember her? I remember the 3 of us playing together when we were kids, yeah. Yes, that's her. We even started the company together, but then she goes and vanishes without a trace during a crucial time like this. Just how uncontrollable can she be? She drives me insane sometimes. Nagasaki let out a small chuckle. I see you've got your plate full. You could say that again. You're not feeling exhausted lately, are you? Have I been acting strange or something? Nah, not really. But you've always had trouble saying no to people. I mean, we made you act as class president and run the club as well. I was worried you might be putting too much, I was worried you might be putting too much of a burden on yourself again. You didn't make me do anything. I did all that voluntarily. Well, in any case, overworking yourself is a surefire way to build up stress. I suppose you're right. But I'm not stressed out. My job is pretty much my hobby anyway. Glad to hear that. You work at a psychiatry clinic around here, right? Nagasaki, still holding her coffee cup, shifted her eyes from the menu to me. Yeah. So you listen to people with mental problems like schizophrenia or chronic depression, analyze them and give them advice on what to do? Something along those lines? I see you're watching the same TV shows as me. We have a case or two like that once in a blue moon, sure, but most of our patients are senile old folks who come to talk about their grandkids or housewives complaining about their daily chores and husbands. Usually, all you have to do is fix their problem, or to fix their problems is hear them out. Hard to believe the girl we played doctor with as kids actually became one. Nagasaki ran her hand across her face. Our little clinic is hardly an establishment to brag about, really. There's a big hospital nearby, so we get very few people. You've wanted to become a doctor ever since then? Who knows? Maybe, I don't remember. Nagasaki placed the empty coffee cup back on the tray. I just like observing people. I believe that nothing happens without a reason. So when someone starts raving or acting in contradiction to common sense, I can't help getting curious about its underlying cause. It's probably the main reason why I became a psychiatrist. I see. So, I thought you wanted my help or with something. Once we were done engaging in small talk about our jobs, Nagasaki swiftly changed to the main subject at hand. Did you have any patients suffering from hallucinations? A few? Are you seeing any? I think it's probably because of exhaustion, but... Nagasaki slowly leaned her head forward, seemingly deep in thought. Her forehead almost touched the cup of the tray. Or on the tray, sorry. Do you remember the fits I had as a child? You had fits? Did I never tell you? Well, my ears would sometimes begin ringing, and nothing I did would make it go away. Nagasaki paused for a few moments, and after giving me a brief look, parted her lips to speak. Now that you mention it, I think I remember you telling me that. Ringing in the ears, huh? She mused. Yeah, I thought it would drive me crazy. Well, that could be explained by acoustic hypersynthia. Or hyperesthesia? I don't know what that is. Can you tell me how exactly it would manifest? At times, I'd wake up at night and hear all the sounds around me as if they were amplified. I'd feel like my head could burst at any second. The shorter fits would pass after a few minutes, but some of the longer ones could go on for over half an hour. I realized my right hand was unconsciously touching my ear. I stopped having them around elementary school, but they came back recently. You might want to make a visit to an ornithologist, just in case. Or otornologist? I don't know all of these medical terms. I've already been to one, and they couldn't find anything wrong with my ears. Though they told me to come back if the symptoms grew worse. Nagasaki regarded me in complete silence and stillness. Will you? Neither the ringing nor its frequency changed at all, but I also started hearing Takako's voice in its place. Nagasaki slightly furrowed her brows. You sure it's not just your imagination? I can hear it very clearly. I emphasized the word clearly. Do you think it's an auditory hallucination? Nagasaki inhaled a breath and crossed her legs again. Well, if you hear something that cannot possibly be there, then it would be classified as that, yeah. I guess an otorhinologist. That's it, otorhinologist. Couldn't help you with that. Can you? Auditory hallucinations can be a symptom of schizophrenia, but based on our little chat today, I'm not seeing anything in you that would support such a diagnosis, and it doesn't seem to be having a severely adverse effect on your lifestyle either, as you appear perfectly aware of the fact that they are hallucinations. In short, I think you might just be exhausted. I see. We had a lot of folk with work-related adjustment disorders lately. Most of those can be cured with a few weeks of vacation. You should probably not worry about it too much unless it starts affecting your life. So it's best if I don't think too much about it? Basically. Okay, I understand. Thanks. I feel a bit better now. If those voices you hear become worse for whatever reason, and you get worried again, you can always come straight to my clinic. With that, she stuck a hand in her pocket and pulled out a business card. Narasaki Mental Clinic. Psychiatrist, Narasaki Hibiki. It had the address written on the other side. Could I get your card too, if that's okay? I wonder if I have any left. I picked up my handbag from the sofa and pulled out my card holder. However, no matter where I looked, I couldn't find any of my cards. I'm sorry. Don't sweat it, but remember to keep one on you the next time we meet. Okay. And I'll want to hear more about your work, too. If that's what you want. Realizing that my coffee cup was empty, I promptly pulled my hand back. The chair let out a low creak as Narasaki crossed her legs again. What time is it? I instinctively glanced at my watch again. 8:30? Oh, that late already? This place has neither a clock nor windows, so I guess that's just how they roll. Narasaki picked up her wallet from the table and, after glancing at the receipt and taking out the amount indicated, returned it to the handbag she kept next to her. Going already? I've still got to drop by my clinic tonight. I see. What about you? Lifting her handbag from the seat, Narasaki gave me a brief glance. I think I'll relax for a few more minutes. Hearing that, Narasaki made a short pause before speaking up again. It's been a while since I had fun like this. Me too. About what we discussed. Remember, if you're still worried, you can always come by my clinic. Thanks, I'll do that. As she left the shop, Narasaki placed a palm on the back of her neck, then slid it down to wave me goodbye. I spent some time absent-mindedly gazing at the empty space in front of me that Narasaki used to occupy. After shifting my gaze to the empty cup, I finally stood up, picking up the receipt, and continued to the counter to pay for my drink. The streets outside were already covered in darkness, with the neon signs of shops illuminating my way. I turned around and saw myself reflected in the window glass. There were faint black spots below my eyes, making me look a bit like a ghost. Girl, I know about those dark circles. Trust me, I have them all the time. Because I'm constantly sleep deprived. I grabbed a pack of iced coffee from the fridge and filled my flower-patterned cup, then returned to the office with a cup in hand. The office itself was a small cream-colored room with 5 office desks crammed into it. 4 of the desks faced each other, while the last one was slightly further away, positioned by the window. I headed toward that particular desk, sat down, and proceeded to turn on my computer. Sipping coffee with one hand while typing my password with the other, I listened to Takako nibble on her 10th or so candy. Oh, hi. Takako does not look right in that blouse at all. Takako, her eyes fixed on the documents, reached out toward a transparent glass jar resting next to her monitor. It was filled with colorful candies. She nimbly undid its cap and avoiding the lemon-colored ones, picked a candy with an apple design on its wrapping. After unwrapping the thing, she quickly chucked it into her mouth. And another. They're getting so annoyed! And started nibbling on it. Soon enough, she casually thrust her hand into the jar again and pulled out a lemon-colored one. Her hand stopped as she noticed the color of its wrapping. Want a candy, Fumi? Takako addressed the employee sitting in front of her. Oita Fumi. Fumi shifted her gaze to Takako, knitting her eyebrows. She's so short! How many of those can you eat in a day? The sound you make when you're chewing is bothering me. I'm always sleepy past noon. If I don't eat something, I might fall asleep. Your sugar intake must be off the charts. Don't come crying to me when you gain weight. It's okay. My brain burns all the sugar anyway. To me, candies are like coal to a steam engine. She let out a hearty guffaw. Figuring that I had seen enough, I rose from my desk and drew closer to them. I picked up the candy bottle from the table. But that is all the time that I have for this episode, guys. So if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up down below. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!